Welcome pedalers to another pedal preservation video, and up in the stand we have a full suspension Commencal mountain bike. I was gifted this bike a few months back, but I've had it lying around because I really didn't know what to do with it. However, as luck has it, my youngest nephew has decided that he now wants a full suspension mountain bike. He has recently outgrown his hardtail and he's looking for something that would be appropriate for hitting up on the trails. And although this is an old full suspension mountain bike, it's actually got pretty good geometry, reasonable front end suspension. It's a 140, so I think this would make a great bike for him. However, here's the thing, and this is where you could help me. Do we restore this bike back to its original condition, do the minimal amount of work just to see if he actually likes it, or do we, while we've got it all stripped down, we give it a bit of modernization, maybe convert it into a 1x drivetrain, go a bit of full hog on the suspension, stripping the forks and the shock down and giving them a proper service? What are your thoughts on this? So we just leave it as it is, or shall we push it into the next level with some choice upgrades? Right, let's get her broken down. Now, I have noticed a few issues on the bike. There are some problems with the hydraulic brakes. Up at the front end, the right-hand brake lever doesn't do anything. Obviously, the wee piston actuator has broken. So that is something we're going to have to deal with regardless. But let's just... Okay, this thing is well jammed up for some reason. Look at that, this is not the right back wheel. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take the chain off because the chain is garbage. It's completely worn out, which might mean we might need a new cassette. One of the reasons we're thinking, do we just go the full hog, make it a 1x10 while we're at it, or do we put another cassette on it? Of course, it won't be a new one. Smash a pin out anyway. We'll get the chain off because it's just going to be coming off anyway, and it's just getting in the way. We're not saving the chain, so we can just push that pin right out the other side. Boo! I still don't know, even with that up there, why is this jammed in? I can't believe it. Is this going to be... Is this just going to be it? Is this going to be it? From now on, just problems? At least we can get a little bit better access, see what we're doing. It's a little bit dry. That does not want to go back on. Well, that was bloody awesome. Just took my glasses off. Gee, I don't know what that was all about. Right, let's hopefully that the front is a little less eventful. Now, this has got a different skewer on the front, so someone's obviously been a bit bitsy on it. Why is this now not? I think we're going down the same road. That is not dropping out. This all worries me. If we're having these issues right now, is this bike just being built up from a pile of parts and nothing really worked? Well, I'll tell you what, I think that does not really want to go round. I think the brake caliper is holding everything in. There we go. Wow, that is... Next we'll do the whole cockpit. We'll get this stripped down. So the issues that we currently have, well, first things you'll notice we've got odds. So something's been changed at some point. I think it's hard to say. I don't know which one is the original. This one's actually working, and this is actually a decent brake lever. This one, unfortunately, the piston rod, I think, is snapped. So we'll strip it down. Again, if we're going for the full pucker rebuild, I'm going to be changing all the brakes anyway. I do actually have a set of Shimano hydraulics that I will change everything over to. If we're doing the sympathetic approach, then I'll be looking for another brake lever. But first thing we want to do is just get all the stripped down, and we'll get the fork dropped out. Let's get the grips off first. Oh, everything is dry. Dry, dry, dry. Well, I suppose if it wasn't dry, it's because it was wet and it'd be rusty. Don't know if that makes any sense. Oh, there we go. These are actually quite nice grips, so Superstars, so they'll go back on either way. Clamped. There we go. So yeah, it's a bit of a quandary on what to do here, whether it's worth, because this is obviously, I think the bike's from probably about 2009, and it's whether you pile a lot of money in. Are you better off just buying another second-hand, up-to-date bike do you put the money into this one and this will be fine? I'm kind of looking at all the geometry figures on this, and it kind of is very similar to, I would say, a modern XC bike rather than a downhill, or not a downhill, but an enduro bike. And that is the thing, you know, you spend £300 doing this up when you could probably pick up a half decent modern geometry full suspension for about maybe £700. I've been having a look on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe if you're really careful, you could pick up something that really just doesn't need any work. It'd be ready to go. Now, his elder brother, I actually managed to pick him up on Occam. I can't remember what it was. It was an Occam, I don't remember the model, last year. And we were able to pick that up for, I think that was about £750. So this is the thing, £750 buys you a modern geometry bike with probably a better spec like dropper, etc. Where we would actually have to spend that money on this, like putting the dropper on it, putting the 1x drivetrain on it. And that's the thing, is it worthwhile on such an old bike? Would you get a return out of it? I mean, these bikes typically sell for about anything from £300 to £500, you know, at this age in working order, which is obviously what we're trying to achieve. That's what makes me think that maybe just doing a sympathetic restoration, get it working, second-hand parts, and then you've kind of got a try before you buy. You know, is it your thing? Do you want to be hitting the parks, etc., with a full suspension, or you just, you know, just maybe put the money back in, like, because he's outgrown his bike, so he definitely needs to change his bike. But obviously, you can get an affordable hardtail absolutely really cheap. We've got plenty of those down the bike library. You just stick with the hardtail, you know, and at least you get a modern geometry bike. This is the thing, because as soon as you go full suspension, prices go crazy. I mean, even picking up something that's sort of £200 to £300 will need a lot of work, and you're probably pushing it maybe even back into the 90s. Let's get all the calipers off. Get this frame back to as bare bones as we can get it for either cleaning. I don't think I would go as far as painting it, mind you, although it would look good if it was, but the graphics on it are quite nice and recognizable, and we won't be able to recreate those, so I don't think that would be a wise move. I think it will just, I think once we give it a polish, it's actually gonna, I've found in the past that things come up real nice. As we'll be recabling everything, I'm not even gonna try and save any of that. Just pull all that off. Oh, there we go, that should came off all right. Right, looks like there's a tiny bit of internal cable routing. So that was for the rear shifter. Actually comes up and actually I don't know why, everything else is on the outside, but this goes through the rear trailing arm and comes out here. So I'm definitely going to leave that in and get all this off and then the ultrasonic regardless. Obviously, if we're converting over to 10x, the issue we would have is this is SRAM, and then it would mean if we'd have to get see, I've got a spare 10x cassette, but it's Shimano, which means we wouldn't be able to put this on, but I've got plenty long cage. In fact, we would probably need to put a long cage on this anyway, so this actually probably doesn't really come into it, but yeah, that's loose. Right, let's drop this stem. We'll take the stem off, and then we can drop the forks off and see if we are going to be faced with any horror stories, which is, although I have to say it feels absolutely fine. That is one good thing about this bike. The suspension seems okay, all the pivots etc seem okay, so I don't see us having any issues in that department. Don't do that. I was not expecting that just to slide out as easy there. All right, okay, this all looks very nice. Got internal bearings in there, so that's good. Feel absolutely beautiful. I'm hazarding a guess that this guy's actually looked after this bike. I think this bike, whichever thing we do, and it's up to you guys down in the comments, tell me what you think I should do. Yeah, see, that's just all so clean. The only thing I would say with the forks is, and I don't know if you can see it, but the rubbers are cracked, so I'll be honest with you, maybe either way we'll probably have to do the seals, but it's just whether we do like a 50-hour service or a 150-hour service. That is the question. But certainly all here, this is all looking real good. I don't think that bearing's for dropping out though, but it feels just just feels brand new. Right, I'm bringing you in from an odd angle because, as you can see, being a high pivot bike, the front derailleur's on its own little like mini post. I mean, that is literally just there for the derailleur. If we convert this to a 1x, this post's whole reason for being is lost. Actually, we'll do that as well. Get the cable off. Come on, there we go. Now, this should hopefully, I'm hoping this just jumps off the top, because if it doesn't, do I have to take the damn trailing arm off? Or unless I just have to open this up completely to get it out, maybe that's what you have to do. Just like you would normally, actually, because that would be the... oh, yeah, there we go. That's it off. It's nothing special, just standard derailleur, but we'll see. Right, I've spun you around just because it was easier to get to the crank bolt on this side. It's an unusual set of cranks. I'm not actually experienced one. You only have the nut on one side. What looks like an ISIS drive, I think. Right, this should whip it off because this has got the ISIS top hat inside it. Fingers crossed that a little bit gummed, but make sure it's in as far as it will go. Put the centre in. Oh, wait a minute. I hope that is now hitting. Either that, I've just completely missed it. Yeah, I don't think that's oh, it was doing something. In fact, I probably just knocked that off. I probably didn't actually need the driver to get it off. Kind of felt like I did though. Hold of that. Give that a clean. But it looks okay. And that should just pop through. Right, so that is the bike stripped as far as I think we need to take it at the moment. All the components are off. I'm not taking any of the bearings out of the frame, etc. on any of the pivot points because, to be honest with you, they're absolutely sound. In fact, the only bearing on the whole bike, which I think is suspect, was that bottom bracket bearing, which I will have a look at. Everything else is fine. And to be honest, even things like the shock works absolutely perfect. However, if we are going beast mode on this, I probably will take it off and just give it a 50-hour service. Front forks, as we saw earlier in the video, we do have crack seals, so that'll definitely need to have a bit of a look at either way. So let's have a look at the components and we can start figuring out, or give you guys at home the option, which way we're going to take this build. So this is our inventory of parts that have come off the bike, so we can start figuring out, you know, what are our options to put back on the bike, etc. So starting, obviously, we've got the crank set. Now, this is fully breakdownable, if that's the right word. So we could, even making it a 1x, use the single chain rings from this crank set, rather than, because obviously one of our options is we just get a Shimano Q's and fire it on, but they're like £150. And I'm not sure even if we're going the effort, we're going the extra leg, we're going to go to that much extra expense. So we have this as an option, reutilising this because it's a half decent crank set. The grips are good anyway. They'll definitely go back on. The bottom bracket, one of the bearings is noisy, so we either put a new bottom bracket in it or see if we can replace one of the bearings. Headset bearings, absolutely fine. No issues with them at all. Stem, well, we can circle back round to that depending on the bars. Again, if we're just finishing this bike as it was, everything is fine. Derailleur, shifters, all fine. Obviously, if we're going for the 1x, I'll need another, but I have got long cage Derailleurs used, so that would be a good option. We will probably have to get a different shifter. The reason is, at the moment, 11-speed shifters are way cheaper than 10-speed ones. So I've had a dig about, and I have found an XT 11-speed cassette. So that, as a 1x drivetrain, that would be absolutely fine. So we have that for only £15 at the moment on sale. You can get a Shimano 11-speed shifter. So that would sort, if we're going 1x, that would sort that out. I've got a Derailleur, here it is. So that's, I've got a Derailleur LX Shimano shifter, and that's a long cage one. So that would marry up with the XT drivetrain, no bother at all. This obviously we wouldn't need. Now brake wise, one of the brakes is absolutely fine. In fact, it's actually quite a decent brake. I think these are Avid. Yeah, these are Avid, that one. So that was the front, if I remember right. Now the back, unfortunately the shaft is broken, so that's kind of going to be a bit of a no-go. I do have a spare hydraulic brake lever. Yep, that's all still working. So that could be fitted on. Alternatively, I do have a old new stock full Shimano hydraulic brake set. So there's the other option. We could put that on if we're going beast mode, doing the proper drivetrain. We could just put a brand new set of brakes on it. Well, I say brand new, they're old, but they've never been used. Bar-wise, these are, I mean, there's a perfectly good bars. They are probably a little bit short. We could put bigger bars on it, I think. I'm sure I could find a set. But they are aluminium, so they're good that way. Same with the stem. Depending on the bar option, that could be changed out as well. So, it's up to you guys. What do we do? Do we get it rideable? Get them on the track? Minimal amount of spend possible, sticking to our usual ethos? Or do we, again, using sustainable used parts, we just go a little bit further, pimp it, put a 1x drivetrain on it, do a few other bits and bobs just to kind of bring it up to speed with modern mountain bikes? Or, last option, I'm not sure I like this one, we buy a brand new Shimano Q's drivetrain for it, the whole thing. But I think they're a couple £100, which I don't think is going to be worth it on this bike. But it is another option. You can just put it down in the comments. Let me know. This is your decision. And when we come back in part 2 of this build video, you'll know what way we went. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.